good. Alright. Hey NLSS, I'm Cytalis, and this is Mega Man X 300%. We'll go in 3, 2, 1, go. So this is the third game in the X series, the last game to come out for the Super Nintendo. And basically in the story, our Maverick Hunter base is getting overrun by some Mavericks. This Dr. Doppler character that they just introduced tried to create a utopia and then basically used it to create an army of evil robots. So we're going to start out as X here, and for this first part of the intro level we're just going to kill some of these enemies to reduce some of the lag. You can see there's a big lag spike there. Alright, so in this next section we're going to get betrayed by our friend Mac here, another character they just decided to throw out. They really invest in their characters. But this next section you get to play as Zero for the first time, which is pretty hype. But they just kind of want you to know how Zero works, and you can actually switch to Zero at any point during the story. But he's only got one life. There's a really long transition period from X to Zero, which really just wastes a lot of time. But yeah, basically if he dies once, you don't get to use him anymore. He does have a really powerful beam saber, as you see there, that just kills people in one hit. It's crazy. So that is an upgrade that we're going to get for X at some point later down the line. But we've got X back now, and to finish out this section we're going to head to this boss, and this boss basically you need to hit him with 2 full charge shots, and the rest basically half charges, and you just want to keep them on iframes for as much as possible, sneaking those 2 charge shots in when you can. So we'll get our first charge shot in here, and we'll just keep pounding them with tap charges. He's on iframes as long as you see his eyes blinking there. There we go. So that's the intro level of the stage. We're now going to move on to the 8 Mavericks, which is, the trope for every Mega Man game. You got to defeat the 8 robots and then go to the Wily stages, which in this are called the Doppler stages, since he's the main bad guy as far as we know. All right, we're on okay pace. That's cool. So the first stage we're going to go to is Blizzard Buffalo. And this is mainly because the boss is very easy to defeat with just the Buster only. It's actually the fastest to beat him with the Buster. So now we're just going to use ice physics to go really fast. It's always a really fun part of the stage. But also it's got a leg upgrade that we're going to need to increase our mobility. One of the things they did with X3 was they made a lot of sections where there's a lot of vertical movement, and vertical movement's very difficult to optimize in any of the Mega Man games. Your main mode of movement is walking, which gets you left and right, but up you can only jump, and you're very limited by what you can do with your jump. So the leg upgrade lets you actually get up, or actually dash upwards, which really helps out for a lot of sections. So we're gonna go get that here. So there's actually 4 upgrades for the helmet, the Buster, the chest piece, and then the legs. We're only going to be getting the leg upgrade for any percent. The other ones we can do without. But the chest piece actually helps out with damage mitigation. The helmet wastes a lot of time showing you a map of where the other upgrades are, which obviously we know where they are. And the Buster lets you charge up your other sub-weapons, as well as gives you an extra shot. So for this boss, he's got some wonky AI where if you jump while he looks at you, he basically thinks that you're trying to jump over him, so he tries to get ahead of you by dashing the other way, but we're not really going to be jumping over him, so he's just going to run into a wall. So, makes it pretty easy for us. And last hit. So, you can see that's a pretty easy boss to do. That's actually the fastest way to do it, even if you have the weapon that he's weak against. Basically, when in Mega Man X3, when you hit enemies with their weakness weapon, their iframes are significantly longer than if you hit with the Buster. So that's actually the fastest way to do it there. But the... wow. Alright, gold split, cool. But the weapon we got from Blizzard Buffalo's stage is the Ice Shield, and the Ice Shield is really awkward to use because it doesn't really shoot as a projectile. It's got some startup time to it, but it just does a lot of damage, and it also has a unique ability where enemies you hit with it will always drop health. So it's a pretty tough vertical climb. This is Acid Seahorse's stage, but this is a great example of how X3 is got a lot of vertical movement in it. But we follow a lot of the weakness order for the route. The mini-boss coming up will be weak against Ice Shield, and Seahorse will also be weak against Ice Shield. We also have to use Ice Shield in 100% for getting some of the upgrades in the stage, so ammo conservation is really important. You have a little more leeway in 80%, but... alright, it's an okay fight. But we are going to have one more vertical section coming up here, and then we'll be getting to our boss fight. And basically how the boss fight works for this is... it's our first instance of a quick kill, and essentially you want to hit Seahorse at the height of his jump with his weakness, and then wait a little bit, and he'll have fake iframes. His iframes become fake depending on how high up in his jump he is, so it's kind of confusing to explain, but you'll kind of see if you just watch his health bar. I'll hit him at the height of his jump, and then mash Ice Shield after a short pause. And that will be taking advantage of his fake iframes. Cool. So that's Seahorse. He unfortunately, his weapon isn't really too helpful. We use it for a mini-boss, and we use it for the next boss we fight. It'll be his weakness. But it's largely not the best weapon. So the it also has, much like Ice Shield, it has the unique ability where when you hit an enemy with it, it will always drop weapon energy, as long as it's not like a flying enemy or like an enemy climbing a wall. But this section is introducing the random bosses that we have to fight. So basically within the next 3 stages we're going to fight Bit, and then the next 3 stages after that there's a random chance to fight Bite. And you have to fight them at some point. It's just random as to which stages they appear in. But it will be in the... Bit will show up within somewhere in the next 3 stages. So next we're going to go to Rhino's stage, and Rhino's stage is really hard because the enemies just do a crazy amount of damage, and there's a lot of them. There's just a lot of sections like that where enemies are just in your way and you have to deal with them. You can't just run through them, which is usually the fastest way to deal with enemies in Mega Man X. So this mini boss door here is the first instance where we can fight Bit. So let's see if we get him, and we do. So this is the first random fight, Bit, and he's weak against Ice Shield. And the goal here is to use Ice Shield as much as we can until the very last hit. And in the very last hit, we're going to switch to the Buster, like that, and basically he'll run away instead of exploding. If you get the last hit with his weakness, he goes through this like 10-second explosion sequence, which is very long. So it's just free 10 seconds of time saved there. So this next section, we've got a mini-boss, and the mini-boss doesn't have iframes at all. They were really on a roll with iframes when we made this game. So basically we're just going to jump in and damage boost a bunch and just mass shots into him. Cool, so that's pretty good. He's got 32 health, so I believe it takes off 3 health with the charge shot in the beginning, and then the rest is just mashing as fast as you can. So that wasn't too bad, 2 bonk. Get some safety health there. So now we'll be moving into the last section before the boss fight. And the boss fight, we're going to start off with a charge shot, because like I said, when you hit a boss with a weakness, their iframes are significantly longer. So if we shoot him with a charge shot, it'll do just as much damage as his weakness would do, but with much less of the iframes. But after that, it takes too long to charge back up, so we'll just continue to use his weakness. But he's not too tough. It is interesting to note though that his AI changes if you die after that mini boss where we had the damage boost and mash. He gets a couple extra attacks that we'll see when we go into the refights. But you can see he basically just ran left and right and didn't do too much else. But that's Rhino, and he gives us a weapon, a drill weapon that isn't too helpful offensively, but has a unique property that it disables enemies' iframes. Or sorry, not their iframes, their hitbox. It disables the hitbox altogether, so that you can basically just move right through them. So next we're going to go to Tiger stage, and this boss is super random. Probably the most random boss in the game. See that guy dropped health when we killed him. But going into this mini boss, see if we can get the 1 cycle. It's pretty precise. Let's see what we get. Alright. Didn't quite make it to the door, but that's okay. That was still a solid 1 cycle there. So moving into this next part, I'll get to show off disabling the enemy's hitboxes with the drill a little bit. Just dash right through that guy. But this mini-boss door here is where Bit could appear, but since we already defeated him, he's no longer going to appear in the next 2 stages. So we're pretty safe going through these, we just have to make it through the level and beat the bosses. Alright, so this is Tiger, and like I said, he's really random, but one of the other things that's really annoying about him is that you can't hit him with a charge shot of any kind, a half charge or a full charge, unless he's doing another action. If he's just standing there, he can actually block it. So we're just going to use a lot of lemons to try to kill him here. Now he's got his other set of attacks. These waste a lot of time, unfortunately, but they're pretty easy to get around. But he's invincible while he's all orange like that, which is really unfortunate. But yeah, not too bad a fight. Just had a couple charge attacks there. But he'll give us Ray Splasher as a weapon, which has a neat spread kind of shotgun effect, and it's really useful. It's basically the weakness for probably like a third of the bosses in this game. So it's a very powerful weapon. So next we're going to go to Catfish's stage, and Catfish's stage is a lot of fun because it mixes things up a little bit. Like I said before, the fastest way to kind of get through any of these levels and enemies are to just get around them and not actually kill them. In this stage there's so many enemies that we have to kind of kill them to get through the stage. So again, this is another mini-boss door where Bit would appear. The next level will be in the last 3 Mavericks for the game, so Bite will have a chance to appear there. So it's a pretty tough part at the end there. So for this next part, we're coming into Catfish, and Catfish, he's weak to the drill, but the iframes he has when you hit him with this particular weakness is a lot longer than any other iframes in the game. I believe he's got the longest in the game. So we actually just use the charge buster shots. We try to get 8 in. Well, after 8, he'll go into an invulnerability sequence where you kind of actually have to hit him with the drill to get him out of it, which is right here. So that was pretty rough. It's kind of a little random as to when he goes. Sometimes he'll do one more attack and you can get a couple more charge shots off, but we didn't get the best luck there, so it's a little unfortunate, but that's okay. But since you can see the live split there, I just thought it'd be cool to have all the splits there, but you can see they're kind of grouped for the last 3 Mavericks, and that has to do with the randomness of Bit and Bite. Basically, having him appear in any of these 3 levels makes it kind of impossible to have splits per boss like in the rest of the X games. So we lost a good bit of time there. It was a pretty rough stage, but that's okay. We're still looking pretty good. So this next level is probably my least favorite level, just because you can fight up to about 4 bosses in it. Again, Bite has a chance of appearing here, so we'll see in a minute if he appears. And if he doesn't, we'll have to fight him later, but at least we only have to deal with 3 bosses in this level instead of 4. So let's see what we've got. Okay, so we do have to fight Bite here. So basically Bite is the same kind of strategy as Bit, where he's weak to the drill, but we don't want to kill him with it. We just want to make sure the last hit happens with the buster so that he runs away rather than exploding and wasting like 10 seconds. So he got around the drill a little bit, so I think we're going to have to... Alright, sweet. No, actually we didn't. I thought we were going to have to break out of menu break that. Basically, if you go into the menu and swap weapons, whatever weapon you currently have on screen is it'll disappear. So we had a drill in him there, and if it, you get him with the last hit with it, he'll explode. So here we actually go into a secret level that we need to go through to basically beat the game the fastest. We'll get it in the ending, the second of the last levels, but this is one of the things you have to do to satisfy the requirements to get it. But this part's pretty tough. There's basically 2 stages to Vile. That's who we're fighting from X1. But the first is in a mech, and then we'll fight him out of the mech. And there is a rhythm here that I'm not the best at, so I'm just going to be quiet for a second while I try to get this rhythm down. Okay, so that's the first stage down. Wasn't too bad. So next we just gotta use Ray Splasher, and both forms are weak to Ray Splasher. Okay, there we go. And 1 bullet left. Normally it's at the beginning there against the mech form, you shoot him with 5 charge shots. I did it with 6 charge shots just so I could miss one, and unfortunately I did miss one, so it worked out. But now we have to escape the secret base. It'll explode. We'll have 50 seconds to do it, which is obviously going to be more than enough time. But this is just kind of a cool part of the game because, especially for the speedrun, because you can see kind of direct timing. I know I have the splits on right now, but you know, normally you don't see that. But this is kind of a fun little section to go through, so you just see what time you can get. Mini speedrun. The task gets a 30, so you can see we're already past 30. Okay, so low 27, that's pretty cool. That's good. But yeah, the task is pretty, you know, it's pretty tough to get a 30. I don't know if any human's ever gotten 30 before. I think there's been a couple 29s, but if I get, usually I get about 26. Totally happy with the 27 there. But now we're finally back in the actual stage. We've got 3 of our 4 bosses down. We just have to worry about Crawfish next. So Crawfish has some really strange iframes. Basically, when you hit him with his weakness Triad Thunder here that we got from Catfish, his iframes allow him to actually take damage per frame. So you'll see, I'll just mash the Buster, and look how much damage he takes there. Alright, so that's that. Hopefully in the refights I'll be able to show off a quick kill, because his iframes are pretty easy to take advantage of. But we got a lot done in that stage. We just have to get through 2 more bosses before we move on to the Doppler stages. So next stage is Beetle, and this is probably my favorite stage. The music is sweet. It's really fun music, and it's got a little of everything. You just go fast. Not too many enemies. It's got the drill hitbox abuse. The boss is he's super easy. But we'll get to that in a sec. But coming up to this section, we've got a part where we're just gonna disable some hitboxes. Okay, and next we've got a section where it's a big vertical section. Let's see if we can abuse Ice Shield a bit to block these missiles. It's kind of tough timing, so alright, that was pretty good. But yeah, the movement in the stage is very fun. I'll get up there, X. Alright, that could have been better, but that's alright. So, moving into Beetle, all you do is just hit him with his weakness, which is Ray Splasher. I think this is now the third boss that's been weak to Ray Splasher. But you can see you hit him with the move and it resets his movement, so he'll just kind of hop. Usually we hop with him, so he's not dancing alone here. You don't want him to feel bad. He's trying his best. But that's kind of all there is to it. There is a tougher strat where you charge, you alternate between Wave Splasher and charge shots, because again, the iframes are much less when you hit him with a charge shot. But it's a little riskier because he does have a move where he can go invincible, and if he does that and you're charging up the charge shot, you can't hit him with it. So it's kind of just wasted time. But we're on to our last Maverick already. This one's pretty tough, this Maverick. I occasionally have some trouble with him. But we'll see how we go. Another crazy vertical climb. Normally they would want you to ride that elevator that was coming up with us, but it's too slow. But we're going to move into a mini-boss now that is weak to Acid Bubble, which Rhino is weak against. This is the only other time we use it. It's kind of unfortunate. You can shoot it in different directions, and it's got a lot of utility on it. It's just not a particularly helpful weapon. Okay, so he's down. That's pretty good. This next section is another example of how enemies are just littered everywhere. So we'll see how many. Hopefully we don't take too many hits here. Okay, that's good. So we just got one little section left before the boss. Again, where we can fight, so he's not going to show up here. So, Hornet is actually weak against two different weapons. At least he takes the same amount of damage from both of them. So this one is a bit faster to use than any percent. The other one is a little, actually we don't even use it in this run, but it's a little slow to try to use. But basically we try to not get hit by those Hornets there, and we try to kill them too, because they create a, oh no, that was good. But yeah, they just create a ton of lag, so we try to get rid of them. Alright, so now he's in his pattern where he won't be throwing laggy Hornets at us. There we go, not too bad. So yeah, I mean these splits are they're my PBs, so I kind of expect to be losing time right now. Also to mention, you probably notice I'm playing the Japanese version, and because there's so many text boxes from bosses and story things that happen, you have to play the Japanese version because the text will scroll faster. There's less characters that have to be displayed. So in X3 it saves about 30 seconds of time just scrolling through text. But now that we know where Doppler's underground lair is, we're going to move into these stages, and these stages are all really hard. They all require strats that are very risky, so I wouldn't be surprised if I took a death here. Somewhere in these levels, maybe not necessarily this one, but it is easy to eat it on these. So we're going to go for a strat here to take a damage boost to get over him. See how this goes. You only get one hit before he kills you. Alright, that's pretty close, but we made it. But yeah, we want to be over the other side to him because after you kill him, you walk to 0. Which, hey, 0. Haven't seen you in a while. But the walking is super slow, so if you can get over the boss, you don't have to walk quite as far. So I'm going to take some time to heal up here, and abusing that ability that the Ice Shield has to drop health. You can make it past that guy without getting hit, but you gotta have better reflexes than me. So now we're gonna get into the boss of this level. It's called Godcar Machine Oinari, which I think is the most ridiculous name I've heard of in any X game. And one of the X games named the bosses of them after members of Guns N' Roses, so that's saying a lot. But this boss only has 2 attacks, which are not too bad to dodge, but if he... Ooh, alright. Man, that was a good fight. But he was about to grab me, and if he actually connects with that attack and grabs you, it's an instant kill in any percent. You just don't have enough health to survive that. So we'll save a bunch of time on this one. Alright, Doppler 2 is probably the hardest stage in the game. It's got a very risky trick. It's got a bunch of very powerful enemies that are... You basically can't kill them unless you really sit there and lose a lot of time. Okay, cool. So we made it through without getting hit. That's a really scary part. But in this part, we're going to switch back to 0. And this is the only time we do this, because we've satisfied the requirements for getting the secret weapon, which involve using 0 to defeat a boss that only appears if you defeat Vile in the secret stage like we did earlier. So this is the only boss door you can walk through with 0. Oh no. Alright, that was really close. Yeah, he does a crazy amount of damage to 0, so if that part gets messed up at all, then you're not looking good. You might bite the dust. And if you do die with 0 in this part, you don't get another chance to try again. It's pretty much a reset. It still, technically is any percent if you don't do this part, but basically 0 is gonna go back for repairs, but before he does, he gives X his beam saber, which you saw in the beginning of the game. It made pretty short work of Mac there. And so having the beam saber with X is really cool, because with 0, when you use it, you have to charge up 2 levels, but X only has X only has the 1 level, so we can use it a lot. This is Saber Climb, which is really, really hard. A lot can go wrong here. Oh no, we made it all the way to the top and we fell. Oh man. Alright, well that's probably as close as I'm gonna get. I'm still gonna give it another shot because it's a cool trick. And it saves a ton of time. But probably not anymore. But yeah, you can see this, it's very precise. Everything has to go just right. The movement is very complicated. Oh man, this is rough. And you need pretty much all of your health to do it as well, which is why I keep going back to the farm. Oh, okay. Yeah, if you slide down like that too, it's your iframes get messed up, and you don't have enough iframes to get all the way up there. Oh no! We made it all the way up again! Oh, this is like the worst luck. Like usually I'll just die. I'll hit the spikes by accident or something. I don't think I make it all the way up there and then fall twice in a row. I don't think that's ever happened. It's never happened to me before. I'm so happy I got to say that. Alright. Woo! We made it! Alright, we're already losing a lot of time. That's okay. Oh man, that's really funny. But here you get to see how, you know, we'll remind you how powerful the saber is. It just two hits bosses. It's so great. It does a lot of work. Oh man, that's really funny. I think it actually would have been faster to go up the walls the slow way. You're actually supposed to like literally ride snails up the spike wall there. So I lost 2 minutes, which I think it saves about 1.5 minutes if you do the saber climb the first try. So oh well though, it was still cool. We still made it up there. Got to see it a bunch of times, almost to completion. But oh man. Alright, so this is Doppler 3 where you do all the refights, and basically this is where the saber comes in handy. We're just gonna rip through all these bosses. It's pretty awesome. There you go. Hornets down. So using the saber against these bosses is really cool. A lot of them, like I said, there's two quick kills that we'll do with the saber in this part. But the other ones are kind of, you kind of have to just be in the right place at the right time. So these fights can either go very, very well or very, very poorly. Oh no. Alright, that's weird. It's a thing I'm still learning there, so that's fine. That wasn't too bad. But if you saw there, the first saber hit I got, I was facing away from Buffalo, and the saber actually, the hitbox for it actually starts behind X, because he's like taking it out of the sheath there. So it saves a couple frames if you hit him while you're facing away from him. So this is another boss to just kind of whack twice with the saber, and hope he doesn't go invincible. That just wastes a lot of time. Oh no, like that. So yeah, I waste a couple seconds when he does that. It's a bummer. But we've got one more boss on the left side, and we'll move on to the right side, and the right side has the two quick kills in it. It's also got Tiger, which Tiger can, you know, he blocks the charge shots, but he actually also blocks the saber, which is a huge bummer. So you have to hit him at just the right time. It's very tricky, so we'll see what kind of pattern he gives us. So the next fight will be Seahorse, and that'll be hopefully our first quick kill. I have been failing this trick a lot lately, so we'll see if I can reel it in. too slow. That's a bummer. So that first hit where he falls on me and I pull the saber out, because I put out the ice shard there first, if he's still on his iframes when I pull the saber out, it'll actually instant kill him. But I was a little late there. I think there's a lot of your inputs get eaten a lot in this game. I'm gonna blame that one on inputs getting eaten. That was pretty close. But here's Tiger. Maybe super random. All right, there's one hit. That's good. Oh, all right, cool. That was a good fight. That was really close. Wasn't expecting him to jump at me right there, but yeah, that was a really good Tiger fight. So let's see. We'll go to Crawfish next, and this is the other quick kill, hopefully. If I get to show that off. Alright, cool, got him. So like I said before, when you hit Crawfish with Triad Thunder, he gets his iframes and then starts taking damage every frame. So we switch off to the saber while he's still in his iframes, and it insta kills him. So that's a pretty fun one. But here's our last one of the refights already. So after that, we're gonna go fight Dr. Doppler, who I think, as far as we know at this point, is the main bad guy of this game. Of course, he's not really the main bad guy. If you've played the X games before, you know that the main bad guy is always Sigma, no matter what they say. The game just straight up lies to you all the time. It's always Sigma. They always want you to think it's somebody else. I don't know why, but it's always Sigma. So we're gonna go fight Dr. Doppler, and he's really interesting because he has a move that will basically regenerate his health, and not too many bosses, especially in the X series, ever regenerate their health. So it's kind of interesting. He's definitely really hard to fight casually, because it's not really clear what you're supposed to do. Alright, so that was pretty alright. I think we made up a little time, which is cool. A couple seconds here. Oh, we lost half a second. Alright, well, it's okay. It's all good. So we're going into, I don't know, Sigma 1, I guess you could call us. I think people call it Doppler 4, though. But this is the final section of the game. Really hard. Basically, there will be 3 phases to Sigma. And the first one's not too bad. The second one is really random, and I might be taking a death there. We'll see what happens. But this is Captain America Sigma, and you pretty much just juke his fireballs. Okay. And then get him to shoot the wall there. Cool. So that's the first stage, not too bad. So the next stage of Sigma, his attacks do more damage than I think any other attack in any other X game. They're really tough. So with any percent, you don't have a lot of health to be getting hit with the most powerful attacks in the series. So hopefully we'll not get hit with them. Alright, we made it. Those missiles that he shoots out, like, you see the contact damage with him did half my health. The missiles that would have hit me instead, it wouldn't have killed me, but I would have had like 3 health left, instead of, 8 or however much I have. But this is the third stage. It's not really a real phase. You don't really fight him. You kind of just run away, and he summons lava, which is pretty scary. But you just have to get away from the lava. It's like the escape sequence. But time will be coming up as soon as I reach the top here. And time. Oh wow, alright, we got a gold by a tenth of a second at the end there, that's cool. But 45:17, that's pretty okay. You can see it's about 2 minutes above my PB, but you know, the saber climb didn't go quite as well as I would have hoped. But 45:15, it's 2 seconds above what I got at RGB Land 4. So I'm pretty happy with that. 45 is pretty good. My estimate for this game is usually about 50 minutes. So I'm pretty happy with this run. Went pretty well, no deaths, so that's always pretty exciting. But I'll post this up for you guys, and please consider this submission. I really love this game a lot, and I've had a great time learning it. This is my first speed game I've ever learned, and Mega Man X really got me into the speedrunning community. So you know, it's just really my favorite game. But I'll link my PB video too in this one, so you can view that if you'd like to see my, you know, a little better run. But yeah, this one wasn't too bad. Thanks a lot for watching, and hope to hear from you guys soon. Thank you.